Welcome. Today we have Mad Hatter, aka El Gato. We have Will Hunting. You wrote a nice little article regarding the fear of missing out. Do you want to elaborate a bit on that? On how the fear of missing out leads to bad investment decisions, as we've all seen, right? We've all experienced once upon a time.
Of course, we have. At one stage in any trader's life, we've all been there where we sort of got a bit too ambitious. Eyes started to light up. We thought we were getting the stonks, and unfortunately, things dramatically went the wrong way. Instead of, I guess, swallowing our pride and taking the loss, sort of let it get to a stage where it's escalated, where a substantial percentage of your portfolio is lost there. So, hey, look, we've all been there. We've all had to learn at some stage. I hope those have learned faster than others. But yeah, jokes aside, considering the sort of current economic climate, the fact that cryptocurrencies have had so much success across the board, their returns are just absolutely unbelievable. We're in a situation now that grass is looking incredibly greener than anything around, and as much as the current central banking system has a good grip and control on the economy, if something looks greener, it's very natural for players to jump on board with that very easily. And it's now come to a stage that even with all their influence and guns, let's say, they're in a position where they're like, okay, if we can't beat them, well, we've got to join them, right? So here we are where they're now jumping onto the digital currency market. The International Bank of Settlements, which is the bank of world banks or central banks, has announced that they are encouraging central banks of the nations to build a digital currency portfolio. So I sense a FOMO alert, let's say there, where they're really trying their best to carry on.
Is a very interesting chart that you also put on the same blog, the purchasing power of the US dollar, and it's literally just a full downward trend, right? The only exception was after the Great Depression, it went up slightly, but that was short lived, and then literally we've lost 100 times the value of a dollar in pretty much 100 years. So obviously, people with savings accounts, there's a massive tax on the people who save, right? So investment is, of course, really, really important. So how cryptocurrencies are becoming really important for people to, beat inflation, whole economy is structured, right? With the central banks, etc., their monetary policies and stuff. So maybe we'll have the Mad Hatter explain a little bit about central banks and their policies and how cryptocurrencies could perhaps help you offset monetary policy on saving accounts.
Yeah, well, most, but not all cryptocurrency, as you know, have a very limited distribution. And so there's quite a process to go and create more crypto. And in addition to just the process and the logistics involved, there also has to be like an active market that really wants to take exposure to it. So it's more of a free market situation, whereas with central bank, they've just decided independently, arbitrarily, what the value of money is. The issue is that, if the chart is accurate, and I believe that it is, that, we essentially depreciate value by having a depreciation of 1% per year for the past hundreds of years. One way to look at that is the dollar is worth nothing, which we wouldn't argue against. But another way to look at it is that, now we are basically operating in an environment from a governmental base that's actually more conceptual than the market, let's say, that what crypto is, which is virtual but actual at the same time, because there's a true intrinsic value where we can easily sort of calculate and measure the value of the currency. And it is proving to be quite resilient. So I like to see the volatility in the markets because, the currency takes a punch and then it continues on, and so what we see in the market, if you look at a Bitcoin chart or anything else, you'll see the volatility. So we've already seen a retracement of roughly 50%. And now the market's trading at around 35,000 at the moment. So it's starting to recover, but that's a 10% recovery in virtually no time. And so we'll see where we end at the end of the year. But, the uptrend is always sort of personified by, peaks and valleys. So when we get these retracements, then we see higher highs and then also higher lows. That means that we have a relatively strong upward trend that's intact. And then now, as we sort of improve the use, the application, distribution, of these assets, especially these various crypto assets and everything associated with them, people can really know what they have in their pocket, what it's worth, right? And so they begin to realize that because the appreciation of the cryptocurrency or any sort of crypto asset, put across to any real good or product, they see the strength of their relative purchasing power. So they actually become great beneficiaries of the inflation, because the burger that they would pay like one sterling for, actually, based on them holding crypto, they're actually maybe only paying like 50 pence or so, right? So this creates like a wonderful benefit. Potential is there because not even 2% of the population is participating in this. So as more people start to adopt it and accept it as a meaning of transfer, it's going to increase in value. And so the highs that we currently have witnessed in Bitcoin have only just begun. Right? I think once we have this conversation, say 4 or 5 years from now, I think we'll all be astonished with the value of one Bitcoin or one Ethereum is vis-a-vis like all these government currencies, that the rest of the world will still be using, or the majority of the world will still be using. So yeah.
Well, as long as they keep infinitely supplying more dollars and pounds and all that, yeah, I think we can safely bet that the Bitcoin and price and all the others are going to keep going up.
And they're going to be that silent minority, mate. That's what it would be. It would be a silent minority of people with just good common sense, a lot of forbearance, and a lot of opportunity. Because, really what's going to happen is the intrinsic value of commodities we come into contact with, or even basic goods and services.
That's the other point as well. A lot of people are also analyzing the fact that actually the volatility of the crypto market is also due to the pegging of the dollar as well, right? A lot of people are now speculating that, well, what if it's the case that it's unpegged, and instead to the dollar it would be to some kind of commodity like gold or etc. Suddenly the volatility was very minor, no more than 10% effectively. And that's quite an interesting statement. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes in the future. Personally, as a trader, I don't want to stop the volatility, as you can imagine. But look, if it's going to allow the majority of the public to come on board without being scared, then that's a good price to pay, let's say. Of course, there's always other younger crypto to play with, right? That inevitably there will be a level of volatility in those.
We say it like this, GW. That's goodwill hunting for you guys who are just tuning in to us. We need to understand some very, very simple things when it comes to trading and traders, because we're all traders here. This is a traders show for traders, for the ones who want to become one or become better at what they do. Volatility is essential for the marketplace. Volatility validates the marketplace. It validates the market's appreciation and understanding of what we are all competing for. And it also validates the unilateral participation, the broad participation in the market. So the more volatility we have, the more players we have, the more opportunity we have, and the stronger this environment becomes and the stronger this asset class becomes. So I'm a huge proponent of as many people as possible getting involved in these things. And once they understand the value and the benefit it creates for them, the actual utility of the money makes it real outside of it being an investment, right? So, I hope, that everyone's listening And I hope that everyone who wants to learn, sort of, logs into us and at least starts to begin to understand, what this is we're offering them. And I think I know it's revolutionary. It's changed my life. It's changed the lives of everybody that's on this discussion. And we really are going to see further improvement because of it. I'm 100% biased on this topic, so I have no objectivity at all. But I can only tell you what I witness and experience on a daily basis. I see the currencies that the governments issue, and it doesn't matter what government, what jurisdiction, what continent, they all depreciate over time. So the dollar is not unique in this. And the only currencies, even though they have volatility, that continue to appreciate in value are the ones that we're talking about right here today. Full stop.
Well, one big concern,
Yeah.
one big concern for governments going forward is the crazy amount of debt governments are holding.
Yeah. That's the other thing, right?
The unsustainable. Anyone can understand that it cannot perpetually go forward in time. Okay, yes, there's people coming out with new theories, modern monetary theory, etc. That this is the new norm, and the government will keep on printing. But as a result of that, of course, the money will keep on depreciating. So therefore,
mathematically impossible to pay back.
Exactly, and I think they don't have any will to pay it back. I think they understand at this point they cannot pay it back. I mean, the debt interest itself is becoming astronomical, more than like the health sector and stuff. So I think in any event, cryptocurrency is a great asset in outside of the system, because if they keep on printing and for some reason it keeps on working and these bankers keep on buying government debt, in any case, the dollar or whatever currency would depreciate. So Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies will benefit from that. Or the other alternative is that a complete collapse or a swap to something else, and cryptocurrency will benefit. So I think cryptocurrencies, anyways, as an asset class, is definitely worthwhile to have. Any other points from you guys based upon that?
I mean, look, we could wax poetic on this all day, right? This is one of my favorite topics. So, I don't know if it's going to provide any more use, but I can tell you, like everything else, G-Dub is going to agree 100%. There's no way you can understand it unless you participate in it. Everything we do sounds like noise if you're not in it. You have to get in, right? And I can tell everyone the water is great. Don't worry about it, right? Don't lose your cool, understand, know, and join.
I urge people fundamentally to make their own opinion, not relying on other people's opinions on all this corporate media nonsense that you see every day. You get involved in it, you do your own research, and you come to your own conclusion. Do your own research. I cannot emphasize that anymore.
Well, the problem is today with research. I mean, I'm just like doing simple Google searches, and you literally don't find anything anymore, right? YouTube is all censored, so it's becoming
we have more challenges, but there are alternatives. So again, I wouldn't recommend to use Google anymore, right? You have DuckDuckGo. YouTube was good at a time. Use Rumble, right? There are other alternatives for all sorts of things now. It just means you have to be a bit more research-based on everything you use as well. And look, it's a challenge for us. But over time, when people understand that they need to have more accountability and discernment about everything they do, actually in the long term, I think that will serve the public. Instead of relying on, let's say, the experts that think they know what they're talking about. And unfortunately, it just leads to more disasters. Elgato is absolutely spot on with the problem with the piling on of the debt. Now, I've obviously sort of gone on this with the article, but just for those that haven't read it, effectively, if you think that these guys in the central banks are going to effectively have a new decentralized currency, I'm sorry, but you've got to be a bit of a cynic here and say, well, they've got trillions and trillions and trillions, or quadrillions very soon, of debt. which needs to be paid. What do you think they're going to do with that? They're not going to come in with a revolutionary digital coin. It's just going to be something to help support them pay that debt off, right? They have no choice. They're forced to. And look, what I'm more interested to know is the reaction from all the other, let's say, commercial businesses and banks. I suspect that they will betray the central banks because they're going to be thinking, I'm sure, here's my choices. Shall I stick with a new cryptocurrency where I can wipe the slate clean and get better margins? Or am I going to go for this central banking nonsense? Okay, they're threatening me with all sorts of stuff, but the trade-off there is I'm going to be immediately stuck with debt. What do you think they're going to go for? I think they're going to be optimistic and be like, you know what? Bye-bye. I don't want that system anymore. I've had enough. I've gone as far as I can go. I think it's inevitable. They're going to choose the right path because it'll be for their own survival, right? That's how I see it anyway. So much a threatening force can do of kicking someone in the balls before someone reacts and says no more.
Yeah, man. Look, I think we should. I think we should tell people where to get this help with their research and information. This coincast that we have is also associated with our primary business, coin analytics. That's how we earn our bread and butter. Uh, and I like to have quite a bit of butter on my bread, so I want everybody to come in and come take a look at us and get all of G-Dub's good commentary and insights. Look, this is an opportunity for us, and if you want a Mad Hatter T-shirt, Elgato cap, and also we have some merchandising coming to you real quickly, keychains, etc. This is how we keep the lights on, fellas. And this good information coming to you. So these are things that we really need to. Also, remember, we have a crypto world and we want everyone to participate. So just to sort of put that out there.
So, Matt Hatter, explain, you've been in Georgia in Europe this week. How have they made waves in making it a crypto-friendly space, and how do you experience that side as well?
Well, it's very, very, Georgia's a beautiful country. The people have a boundless hospitality, and they have a tradition that goes back thousands of years. And what's particularly interesting to me on this is that they also have embraced, I'd say, the future and the way that things will be done going forward. So their entire public space, everything they do is on the blockchain, from a wedding to birth certificate, or to like a purchase of real estate. It's all on blockchain. So I really came here to really sort of understand how they've integrated this into their society. And they've done so, very, very, very seamlessly, right? So, and when you see like a ready adoption of what we're all discussing, and you start to understand the application goes beyond just a few trades, really a functionality and a formal construct that serves to improve many, many aspects of our current society without interfering with it, without any sort of undue intervention. And also it provides like a tremendous amount of transparency and access to just really sort of basic things that we do in life. So mainly what brought me here, just to really I could experience this and gain understanding from people who live here, how they work amongst it. And this government really is sort of leading the world in sort of many aspects of the application here, because they're really approaching it not just as a opportunity to sort of create some commercial benefit for society, but they also really want to integrate the actual technology and all of its benefits across the board to make everything better for everyone, even if they don't, let's say, trade in the markets or have any sort of direct interest or connection to that. So I think it's a more egalitarian approach to these things, and I think we're going to see more from them. And I also think we're going to see more emerging markets and countries that really want to progress into the future and have some parity with, like, say, the US and the EU and some other places. We're going to start to see that these countries are going to adopt this as an opportunity, impact their jurisdiction in a way that really effectively helps them. So for me, I see crypto and blockchain and everything associated with it, DeFi, as the tide that's going to lift, a great many ships. That's how I see it.
Very nice.
Well, I lift all the ships except for one ship, and that's the failing monetary system at the moment. I don't think there's anything that could be done with
We
the
don't have
mountain
enough.
of debt,
There's not
right?
enough water in the universe, mate. There's not enough water in the universe to do that.
One
Not at
thing
all.
I will like just before we, I guess, move on to the next topic, our ads, right? Even personally, it's got to the stage where the inflation has got so horrific. I'm in a position where I want to sell my coupe convertible, literally, because I want to put that money into crypto to safeguard the wealth. Because right now, everything that you can think of, the value is getting ridiculous, lost itself. The whole market is absolutely bugged, right? However way you want to look at it, right? So,
I
Lord,
made
if you
so.
really want to store your wealth, I strongly advise you keep it in crypto at this moment of time.
So, are you accepting crypto for the purchase? Maybe we can make this like a contest for our listeners to bid on your ride, man, on your cabrio. That would be actually a great way to prove the process, right? We run the whole trade internally.
Well, I'm not sure it's in the affordable range, but we'll see.
Only 2 or 3 Bitcoin, right? It's no problem.